Let's start with Towers of Agasba. One of the coolest things about Towers of Agasba is how it lets you create your own world. You're not just exploring, you're shaping the environment to reflect your imagination. Whether you're constructing intricate towers, crafting cozy little villages, or experimenting with how nature and your structures interact, there's this incredible sense of ownership over what you create. I spent way too much time perfecting the layout of one area because I wanted the perfect balance between nature and architecture. And the game doesn't just hand you a checklist of places to go or things to find. Instead, it nudges you to venture out and discover on your own. And trust me, it's worth it. There's something so refreshing about a game that rewards curiosity without making you feel rushed. I found myself wandering off the beaten path just to see what was over the next hill or hidden in a dense forest. And the surprises? Let's just say this world has a way of keeping you on your toes. What really makes the building system stand out is how it blends with the game's overall vibe. It's not about grinding resources endlessly or following a rigid plan. It's about creativity and flow. You're encouraged to experiment, and the tools the game gives you make it feel intuitive and fun. Plus, seeing your structures come to life in this vibrant world is so satisfying. Towers of Agasba is the kind of game that feels like a breath of fresh air. It's relaxing yet engaging, and most importantly, it gives you the freedom to play your way. Next we have Solstice. The first thing that jumps out about Solstice is its characters. You play as Briar and her sister Lute, who aren't your usual duo. They're bonded together as a chimera, which gives them insane powers. It's such a cool concept because they're essentially two halves of one powerful warrior, each bringing something unique to the fight. Briar is the muscle, swinging around massive weapons and smashing enemies, while Lute is more like a ghostly support, casting spells and holding enemies back with her powers. Their connection gives the gameplay this awesome twist. It's not just about button mashing, but balancing the abilities of both sisters to pull off some crazy combos. Combat is one of Solstice's biggest highlights, hands down. It's fast-paced, fluid, and makes you feel like an absolute force of nature. There's this beautiful rhythm to it, where you're chaining together attacks and figuring out which enemies need Briar's brute strength, and which ones require a little finesse with Lute's support. It's challenging in the best way, because you have to constantly switch between the two sisters' abilities to keep up with the enemies that come at you. One of my favorite things about Solstice is that it's not just pure action all the time. There's a real depth to the story, and to the bond between Briar and Lute. The game actually digs into their relationship, and it's really touching how they work together and depend on each other. Their bond is what keeps them strong, and it adds a layer of heart to all the chaos around them. It's refreshing to have an action game that puts as much emphasis on characters as it does on combat. Next we have Street Fighter VI. First off, this game doesn't just toss you into the action and say, good luck. It genuinely wants you to succeed. There's an entire suite of tools designed to help you get better at the game, whether you're a complete newbie or a seasoned pro. From the controls to the tutorials, everything feels approachable without ever dumbing it down. It's a game that respects your time and your willingness to learn. And honestly, that's pretty refreshing in a genre that can sometimes feel intimidating. It's got that classic Street Fighter DNA, but with just enough new twists to make it feel fresh and exciting. Every punch, kick, and fireball feels like it packs a serious punch. The roster of fighters is stacked with returning legends and new faces that each bring something unique to the table. It's not just about picking your favorite character. It's about finding one that feels like an extension of your playstyle. Whether you like to get up close and personal or keep your distance with flashy moves, there's someone here for you. Oh, and the combos? They're ridiculously satisfying to pull off. There's nothing quite like stringing together a sequence of moves, landing a perfect counter, and then watching the results play out in slow motion. It's the kind of thing that makes you feel like a fighting game genius, even if you're just mashing buttons half the time. Whether you're honing your skills, customizing your character, or jumping online for some friendly or not so friendly competition, there's always something to do. Next we have Remember Me. Picture a world where memories can be digitized, traded, sold, and even rewritten. Yes, rewritten. It's a setting that feels futuristic but also scarily plausible. And you get to explore this fascinating concept firsthand. You play as Nilin, a memory hunter with some seriously cool skills, like the ability to remix memories. Yes, you can dive into someone's mind, tweak their recollections, and change how they perceive reality. It's an incredibly clever mechanic that makes you feel like you're not just playing a game, but actively unraveling the fabric of someone's life. Combat in Remember Me is another highlight. It's not just about button mashing your way through enemies. It's all about rhythm, timing, and customization. The game features something called the Combo Lab, where you can create and tweak your own combos. Imagine being able to craft your fighting style to fit the situation, whether you need to deal maximum damage or regain some health in the heat of battle. It makes you feel like a true artist of combat, chaining together moves with a precision that's as satisfying as it is effective. This game has some of the most fluid and satisfying movement mechanics around. You'll find yourself scaling walls, leaping across rooftops, and navigating tight spaces in a way that feels intuitive and natural. Next we have The Wind Road. You know those moments when you stumble upon a game you've never heard of, and it ends up surprising you in the best way possible? That's exactly how I felt about The Wind Road. The fighting in The Wind Road is where the game really shines. It's all about martial arts, and the combat system is designed to make you feel like a wuxia hero in training. You've got fluid moves, combos, and counters. And the game encourages you to fight smart, rather than just button mashing. Timing and precision are key, and when you pull off a perfectly executed combo, it feels so satisfying. Plus, the weapons you can use are super fun to experiment with. Swords, spears, and even fists if you're feeling bold. Each weapon has its own playstyle, so there's plenty of room to find what suits you best. One thing I really loved is how much emphasis the game puts on storytelling. Wuxia tales are all about honor, revenge, and moral dilemmas, and The Wind Road captures that perfectly. The game doesn't just give you a straightforward narrative, it weaves in themes of loyalty, betrayal, and the pursuit of justice. But it's not just the big story beats that make this game special. The little details add so much character, whether it's the dialogue with NPCs, the lore hidden in documents, or the gorgeous music that accompanies your journey. Everything feels thoughtfully crafted. One thing I'd say is that The Wind Road might not be a game for everyone. It's not a massive AAA title with all the bells and whistles. It's more of a focused, immersive experience, and that's part of its charm. Next we have Shattered, Tale of the Forgotten King. This one really stands out in how it combines exploration, combat, and a touch of mystery to keep you hooked. You're encouraged to move at your own pace, taking the time to uncover secrets and figure out the best way to approach challenges. The game feels like it respects your curiosity, rewarding you for paying attention and diving into its world headfirst. Combat is another big highlight. It's got this deliberate, skill-focused style that keeps you on your toes. Every fight feels like a puzzle you're solving in real time. Do you go in aggressively, or do you wait for the perfect moment to counter? Timing is everything, and the way the game pushes you to master its mechanics makes every victory feel hard-earned and incredibly satisfying. What really sets Shattered apart is the mix of gameplay styles. It's not just a combat game, and it's not just about exploration. It's a blend of both, and the way it switches things up keeps the experience fresh. You might spend time carefully navigating a tricky area, only to suddenly find yourself in a high-stakes battle. It's that variety that keeps you constantly engaged. Now, one of the coolest aspects of Shattered is how it invites you to experiment and adapt. The game doesn't hold your hand. It gives you the tools and lets you figure things out. There's a real sense of freedom in how you approach challenges, whether it's using your abilities in clever ways or taking a different route to avoid trouble altogether. That feeling of discovery is one of the game's biggest strengths. Tale of the Forgotten King is about the journey. It's about embracing the unknown. Next we have Echo. This is one of those games that feels like it was crafted in some strange secret lab, where the only rule was, let's make something nobody's ever seen before. Imagine you're in this opulent, endless palace, like picture a space-age Versailles. It's pristine, beautiful, but also eerie. You're playing as N, someone who's just arrived in this surreal, otherworldly structure. But the kicker? The palace learns from you. Yeah, it watches what you do, takes notes, and then uses your own tactics against you. Think about that for a second. Let me give you an example. Say you're sneaking around, trying to avoid being spotted, and you decide to play it cool. Stick to the shadows, avoid unnecessary risks. Well, the palace is watching. It sees you being all stealthy and thinks, sneaking seems like a good idea. Now, suddenly, the enemies start sneaking around too. But maybe you're more of a run-and-gun type. If you sprint and blast your way through, guess what? The palace learns that too. And now you're dealing with enemies that sprint and blast you. The entire gameplay revolves around this dynamic, and it's genius. Every few minutes, the palace resets, like hitting a giant refresh button, and the rules of engagement completely change. Maybe it's aggressive now, maybe it's passive. It keeps you constantly on your toes, second-guessing every single move you make. What's really cool is how it makes you question your own strategies. It's like the game is saying, okay, you can do whatever you want, but are you sure you're ready to face yourself? Next we have Hellpoint. This game is like if Dark Souls took a hard left turn into a sci-fi horror movie, and I mean that in the best possible way. Hellpoint takes place on a derelict space station called Iridnovo, and let me tell you, this place is the stuff of nightmares. Honestly, just walking around is an experience. 1 minute, you're admiring the architecture, and the next, you're screaming because something lunged at you from the shadows. Classic. The combat is methodical and punishing, but not in a way that feels unfair. It's all about timing, positioning, and learning from your mistakes. And trust me, you will make mistakes. This is one of those games where dying isn't the end of the world. It's just part of the learning process. You'll respawn, take a deep breath, and try again. And when you finally beat that tough enemy, or make it through a particularly gnarly section, oh, the satisfaction. It's like winning a mini lottery. One of the coolest things about Hellpoint is how much freedom it gives you. There's no hand-holding here, which I know can sound intimidating, but it's actually really refreshing. The game just kind of says, here's this massive, creepy space station. Go figure it out. And you do. There's a real sense of discovery as you explore, find hidden pathways, and piece together the story. It's the kind of game where you'll stumble on a secret room or a shortcut and feel like an absolute genius. And the weapons? They're wild. You've got your standard melee weapons and ranged options, sure, but then you start finding the weird stuff, things that feel like they were ripped straight out of a mad scientist's lab. Next we have Asterigos. The game is about exploration and mastery. You'll find yourself navigating the sprawling city of Aphis, a place steeped in mystery and packed with secrets. The world here feels alive, like every corner you turn and every path you take is pulling you deeper into its lore. You'll encounter towering enemies, solve environmental puzzles, and uncover treasures that make every detour feel worth it. The combat is where the game truly shines. It's not just about swinging weapons and dodging attacks. It's about adapting. The game hands you a variety of weapons, each with its own unique playstyle, and lets you mix and match to suit how you want to take on challenges. Whether you prefer the precision of a spear, the raw power of a hammer, or the agility of dual blades, the options are there, and they all feel satisfying to master. What's really cool is how Asterigos keeps you engaged with its challenges. The enemies here aren't pushovers. They demand your attention and reward patience and skill. Boss fights, in particular, are these epic encounters that feel equal parts puzzle and test of reflexes. One of the best things about Asterigos is how it lets you carve your own path. It's not a linear experience, but it's not overwhelming either. You'll find yourself going off the beaten track to discover hidden areas. And each of those moments feels like a personal victory. The game balances that sense of freedom with just enough guidance to keep you from feeling lost. What really sets Asterigos apart, though, is the way it embraces mythology and weaves it into every part of the game. Next we have Outcast: A New Beginning. The game is a reboot to the original Outcast from the late 90s, which was ahead of its time back then, and this version really brings the world of Adelpha to life in a way that feels fresh, but still respects its roots. Right from the start, you're thrown into this vibrant alien world, and it's gorgeous. The landscapes are lush, filled with all these alien creatures, strange technologies, and different biomes that make each area feel distinct. It's got that sense of wonder that you get from classic sci-fi, where everything is unfamiliar, but you can't wait to explore it. And because the world is so open, you can approach missions however you want. There's a lot of freedom here, and the game doesn't really push you in one specific direction, which makes exploration feel natural. Combat has been overhauled and feels pretty fluid, which is great because the original could feel a bit clunky. Now, it's more streamlined, and there's a lot of variety in how you can approach battles. You've got futuristic weapons, gadgets, and some tactical options that let you outthink enemies instead of just outgunning them. But it's not just about the combat. The game really rewards you for taking the time to talk to NPCs, explore, and get immersed in the world. You can easily get sidetracked by all the side quests and little mysteries sprinkled throughout the game. One thing that stands out to me is the pacing. It's not a game that rushes you. You can take your time, Get to know the world, and really savor the exploration. Some might find it a bit slow at times, especially if they're looking for non-stop action. Next we have Visage. Imagine being trapped in this old, sprawling house. It's not haunted in the traditional sense, it's something much worse. This place feels alive, like it's been soaking in decades of tragedy and despair, and it's decided that you're its next target. You're not running from a monster or battling demons here. Instead, you're dealing with the house itself. And trust me, it's got a lot of issues. The house isn't just a setting, it's a character, and it's got layers. Every creak, every flickering light, every shadow in the corner feels deliberate, like the house is playing mind games with you. It's unpredictable, and that unpredictability is where the real tension comes from. The game is all about exploration. You're moving through the house, room by room, piecing together clues, and figuring out how to survive its relentless psychological attacks. There are no weapons here, no big guns to save you. You're armed with nothing but your wits and a fragile sanity meter that's constantly working against you. And let me tell you, the sanity system in Visage is genius. It's not just a bar on your HUD, it's a living, breathing part of the experience. Stay in the dark for too long, your sanity starts to slip. Hear something unsettling in the distance, it slips even more. And when it gets too low, the house, well, let's just say it reacts. The way the game ties your mental state to the horrors around you is seamless and absolutely terrifying. What's cool about Visage is how it forces you to be hyper-aware of everything. Every corner, every sound, every object you pick up. Next we have Elderborn. You're not here to solve puzzles or play diplomat. You're here to smash, slash, and survive. Elderborn is all about melee combat, and not just any combat. It's chunky, weighty, and precise. Every swing of your weapon matters. It's got this rhythm to it, almost like a dance, but instead of graceful pirouettes, you're smashing skulls and dodging deadly blows. You've got to commit to every move. Whether you're swinging a hefty battle axe or a nimble sword, timing is everything. It's not a game where you can just button mash your way to victory. If you're charging in without a plan, you're going to be eating dirt pretty fast. Elderborn gives you an arsenal that feels so good to use. Each one has its own personality. Want something heavy and devastating? Grab a mace and watch enemies crumble under its sheer power. Prefer something quick and agile? Swords are there for the slicing. And let me tell you, finding your favorite weapon feels like a milestone. It's like discovering your soulmate, but, in a violent, barbarian way. And the enemies? They're not just standing there waiting to be your punching bags. They've got moves, they've got aggression, and they've got no intention of going easy on you. Some charge straight at you with reckless abandon, while others stay back, trying to catch you off guard. And when they come at you in packs, that's when things get really spicy. But here's the thing. It never feels unfair. If you go down, it's because you slipped up. It's a straightforward, no-nonsense action game that knows exactly what it wants to be. Next we have Scorn. This game is an experience. It's not your typical action-packed adventure or a linear narrative-driven ride. No, Scorn takes you somewhere far more bizarre, somewhere that feels alien, yet disturbingly intimate. The puzzles here are seamlessly tied to the world. Every lever, mechanism, and device you interact with feels like it's alive, as if the environment itself is a character trying to communicate with you, or maybe mess with you. You'll often find yourself walking into a room and just staring. Not because you're lost, though you might be, but because you're trying to decipher what this room is trying to tell you. It's like stepping into an abstract painting where the artist whispers, "There's a method to my madness, if you're brave enough to look for it." Combat exists in Scorn, but let's get one thing straight. It's not the focus. This isn't a game where you charge in guns blazing. You're not here to mow down enemies and rack up a body count. Instead, combat feels like a natural extension of the world, a test of your resourcefulness and patience. Ammunition is scarce, and brute force will only get you so far. The game doesn't just want you to fight. It wants you to think about whether you need to fight. And that's where Scorn really stands out. It's not interested in holding your hand or spoon-feeding you answers. It's a game that thrives on ambiguity, on making you question not just where you're going, but why you're going there in the first place. So, if you're ready to step into a world that feels like nothing else you've ever experienced, Scorn is waiting for you. Next we have Alone in the Dark. It's not your typical action game. It's designed to make you think about your surroundings, your choices, and how you tackle obstacles. Puzzles are a big part of the fun here. They're clever, without being overly complicated. They keep you engaged and make you feel like a genius when you figure things out. Combat is another element that stands out. It's not just about fighting. It's about staying calm under pressure and using the tools at your disposal wisely. The game does a great job of keeping you on your toes, but it never feels overwhelming. It's the kind of combat that rewards precision and quick thinking. And when you come out on top, you feel like you've truly earned it. What's really fun about Alone in the Dark is the way it balances tension and exploration. You'll find yourself inching through corridors or cautiously investigating new areas. But it's not all about fear. There's a genuine sense of curiosity that drives you to keep exploring. And let's talk about the pacing. Alone in the Dark knows how to keep things interesting. It has this great rhythm where it alternates between slower, more thoughtful moments and bursts of action or intensity. That ebb and flow keeps you engaged and makes every part of the game feel meaningful. The mechanics are solid too. The game gives you plenty of ways to interact with the world, and it feels intuitive without being overly simplistic. Whether you're managing your inventory, piecing together clues, or navigating through tricky encounters, everything feels polished and deliberate. Next we have RoboQuest. If you're a fan of fast-paced action, explosive gameplay, and robots, lots and lots of robots, this game is going to steal your heart. It's one of those games that doesn't take itself too seriously, but delivers an experience so polished and addictive. So, what is RoboQuest all about? Well, it's a roguelite first-person shooter that's all about blasting your way through waves of enemies while exploring vibrant, ever-changing levels. But it's not just your average run and gun. Oh no, this game has style. The art direction is this fantastic mix of cel-shaded visuals and neon-soaked sci-fi goodness that makes every explosion and every laser beam feel extra satisfying. Right from the get-go, the game grabs you with its high-energy vibe. You're thrown into these sprawling, colorful levels filled with robots ready to take you down. And the pace? It's lightning fast. You'll be jumping, sliding, dodging, and shooting all at once. It's chaotic in the best possible way, and the game encourages you to keep moving. The weapons in RoboQuest are a highlight. There's an insane variety of them, from traditional blasters and rifles to some truly wacky, over-the-top creations. And the roguelite aspect of the game really shines here. Every time you jump into a new run, the levels, enemies, and loot are randomized. This means no two runs are the same, keeping the gameplay fresh and exciting. Sure, you're going to fail a few times, that's part of the fun, but every failure comes with progress. If you love fast-paced shooters, this is for you. Next we have Redfall. It's an open-world game, but instead of sprawling wilderness or massive cities, it's all about this eerie, abandoned town with so much personality. You are dropped into the town of Redfall, which has been overrun by vampires. And let's just say they've turned the once charming town into a creepy, yet oddly beautiful dystopia. It's a shooter at its core, but it's not just about mowing down enemies, although there's plenty of that too. The game gives you freedom to approach situations your way. Want to go guns blazing? Do it. Prefer sneaking around and picking enemies off one by one? Totally an option. It's all about playing how you want, and the tools you're given make it so satisfying. And those tools? Let's just say Redfall is big on variety. Each character has unique abilities that add some serious flair to the gameplay. Whether it's summoning a spectral elevator, yes really, or using telekinesis to toss enemies around, there's always something cool up your sleeve. It's like mixing supernatural powers with a good old-fashioned arsenal of weapons. Speaking of weapons, the game has some ridiculously fun ones to use. Stake launchers, UV beams, and other vamp-slaying tools feel inventive and impactful. Now, if you're a fan of co-op games, this is where Redfall becomes a must-play. You can team up with friends, each picking a different character with unique skills, and create absolute chaos together. It's one of those games where you'll find yourself yelling, "Wait, check this out," every 5 minutes as you pull off some wild move or discover a hidden area. Next we have Call of the Sea. If you're in the mood for something a little different, something vibrant, mysterious, and dripping with heart, this game should be on your radar. It's not about high-octane action or gritty battles. Nope. This is a game that invites you to slow down, soak in the scenery, and get lost in a beautifully crafted story. The premise of Call of the Sea is pretty simple, yet totally intriguing. You play as Nora, a woman searching for her missing husband on a strange, uncharted island. But here's the twist. This island isn't just any island. It's bursting with mystery and an air of otherworldly magic. From the moment you arrive, you know you're in for something special. As you delve deeper, you'll encounter ruins, puzzles, and little details that hint at something much bigger and a bit stranger than you might expect. And let me tell you, the puzzles in this game are so satisfying. They're challenging enough to make you think, but never so frustrating that you feel stuck for hours. It's the kind of game that rewards you for paying attention to your surroundings. Every little detail, an engraving on a rock, a piece of paper tucked away in a corner, could be the key to solving the next puzzle. And when you do figure it out, it's such a rewarding moment. What I really love about Call of the Sea is how unique it feels. It's not trying to be a blockbuster game or follow any trends. Instead, it carves out its own little niche as a thoughtful, beautiful, and emotionally resonant adventure. It's a game that reminds you why you love exploring new worlds. Next we have Chorus. From the moment you boot it up, you're hit with this stunning universe full of swirling nebulae, glowing space stations, and massive starships that make you feel tiny in the best way. You play as Nara, a starfighter pilot with a mysterious past, and your ship, Forsaken, is your partner in crime, or redemption, depending on how you look at it. The dogfighting is where Chorus shines. It's not just about shooting lasers at enemy ships, although you'll do plenty of that, and it feels amazing. It's about speed, precision, and pulling off these crazy, physics-defying moves that make you feel like an absolute ace. There's this one move where you can drift in space, spinning your ship around to take out enemies while still zipping forward, and every time I pulled it off, I felt like the coolest person alive. The controls are tight and intuitive, but they also make you work for it. You're not going to master the advanced maneuvers right away, and that's part of the fun. There's this awesome sense of progression as you get better and start chaining moves together in combat. By the time you really hit your stride, you're taking on waves of enemies like a one-person fleet, and it's so satisfying. Another thing I love about Chorus is how it gives you a sense of freedom. The game is an open world in the traditional sense, but there are these beautifully designed areas you can explore between missions. Whether it's helping out stranded civilians, uncovering secrets, or just flying around to soak in the scenery, there's always something to do. So, bottom line, Chorus is an absolute gem. Next we have Empire of Ants. It's like stepping into the world of ants, but with the added bonus of strategy and exploration. You're an ant. And no, this isn't some quirky survival game where you dodge giant raindrops and birds. This is about building a full-blown ant empire. You're managing colonies, gathering resources, and battling threats, all while appreciating the surprisingly intricate lives of these tiny creatures. I'll admit I didn't expect to feel this invested in ant society, but here we are. The game does an amazing job of making you feel like a part of this mini-world. The environments are lush, detailed, and just stunning to look at. Everything is scaled to make you feel appropriately small, towering blades of grass, massive puddles, and terrifying predators that loom over your little army. The gameplay itself is a mix of strategy and resource management, but it's not overwhelming. You're tasked with expanding your colony, which means deciding where to send your workers, what to build, and when to defend your turf. It's one of those games where every decision matters, but it's also forgiving enough to let you learn as you go. I've had moments where I'm like, okay, I've got this, only to realize I didn't assign enough ants to foraging, and suddenly, everyone's hungry. Lesson learned. What I really love is how alive the colony feels. Every ant has a purpose. Some are gathering food, some are defending the nest, and others are just doing their ant thing. It's unique, engaging, and oddly addictive.